It's 2022. America seems to be going into a recession, the money supply is shrinking, people are feeling the pain in their wallets, they can't spend as recklessly anymore, the American populace is starting to feel poor. And that's when you, a little-known Chinese app called Temu, saw your opportunity. Hey, you don't have to feel poor, just shop on our app. Prices are so low you'll feel like a billionaire with how much stuff you can afford to buy.
I like it, it's mine. The prices blow my mind. I feel so rich, I feel like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. Let's go. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I get it straight from the makers. I'm shopping like a billionaire.
It was the perfect advertising blitz at the perfect time, aimed at the deep-rooted pain of the American population. And it worked. Temu exploded.
If you are an internet user, you'll say Temu everywhere.
Temu is running a deal right now that if you put in a code, you get a bunch of free stuff.
What I got? Baby clowns. I did it again. I bought more things at Temu. I'm gonna do another haul because last one was too good. Here we are again. I'm covered in hot with this dress. Y'all, this dress is only $17.
A couple of months ago, Emma came home from school saying, "Mom, all my friends are shopping at Temu now."
Well, all this stuff is so inexpensive.
I recently ordered from this website called Temu. The total was $1.55 and I got a lot of things.
$21 knockoff Apple Watches, $38 vintage violins. Yes, these prices were really too good to be true. And yes, average Americans did get a taste of what it was like to not have to worry about money when shopping on Temu. But how did they manage to get these unbelievably low prices with free shipping? One word: slaves.
This is really serious stuff.
Tensions between two Chinese e-commerce giants who are known for selling cheap, really cheap goods.
Fast fashion brands Shein and Temu raising questions about potential forced labor and the skirting of U.S. import taxes.
They've overtaken the App Store. So if you go in the App Store, they'll be at the top.
Beth Brotherton Bunch with the Alliance for American Manufacturing says if the extremely low prices seem too good to be true, it's because they are. Both apps are owned by Chinese firms.
It's becoming more and more clear that they are reliant on forced labor to make their products.
Brotherton Bunch says most of the apparel stems from the Xinjiang province, an area where the U.S. State Department says there's a genocide happening. Members of the Muslim minority Uyghur population, often forced into prison and labor camps, produce the very goods that enter the U.S. through the apps.
Much like their distant cousin Shein, Temu also does a lot of business in the Xinjiang province of China. And we all know what happens there, right?
Hundreds of thousands of people from ethnic minorities, including the Uyghur community, are being forced by the Chinese authorities to pick cotton in the far western region of Xinjiang. That's according to information seen by the BBC. The evidence suggests that China's cotton crop, which makes up a fifth of the world's total supply, could be far more dependent on forced labor than was previously thought.
20% of the world's cotton supply is coming from Xinjiang. And cheap brands from all over are reliant on the stuff to be able to keep their crazy low prices. And it's all thanks to a hard-working army of Uyghur Muslim slaves. Ah yes, Americans are so quick to bring up how America used slaves to pick cotton 150 years ago, but those same Americans will gladly look the other way to get their cheap products from Shein and Temu. The US Department of Labor estimates that there are over 1 million slaves over there right now.
Put the black hood on my face and they put me in this is the interrogation room, and inside the iron cage there's a tiger chair. Your wrist shackled there and your feet also shackled.
He says police accused him of espionage, plotting against the Chinese government, and the crime of separatism, and they demanded a confession.
You just confess. You just admit what you have done. It's good for you.
It's estimated that at least 100,000 of those slaves are currently being forced to work on these labor camps to produce things like cotton for these companies. Just imagine if you had a company with 100,000 employees. Now imagine if you didn't have to pay those 100,000 employees, and they just work for you for free, day and night.
Have found Chinese documents that show more than 500,000 Uyghurs have been coerced into picking cotton in the Xinjiang region. The report says many of the workers come from the vast network of re-education centers that have imprisoned more than 1 million people.
Videos uncovered by the investigative news organization Coda Story also show groups of Uyghurs being sent away. But listen to the soundtrack, a Chinese version of the old Italian freedom anthem. Bella Chow. These videos are posted on social media by Uyghurs who are not happy to be bused to factories far from home.
It's really troubling is, they call these Uyghur workers batches. They say they have 500 or 300 workers available to be hired in 15 days. They can be delivered within a week or 2 weeks, and then they can withstand hardship, and they promise if you hire these workers, there will be no staff loss.
No wonder they can sell this alluring fishnet lingerie set for 78 cents. And the stuff that's happening to these prisoners in the name of cheap products for Westerners is absolutely sickening.
China calls them thought transformation camps built to prevent extremism from spreading, but reports indicate they're more like prisons.
So the new evidence really shows that this is a campaign to break a people. It's, after all, most likely the largest incarceration of an ethno-religious minority since the Holocaust. So we can no longer say business as usual.
Now, for the very first time, CNN has spoken to a former Chinese police officer who claims his job was to arrest and extract confessions from ethnic Uyghurs in Xinjiang.
Some cops would play the good cops, and some would play the bad cops. After we beat them, we'd offer them a cigarette.
Did you have to be the bad cop sometimes?
Of course.
Anyone who could not memorize a book of slogans and rules within 14 days would be denied food or beaten.
She tells us about the cruel conditions in the camps, about torture and humiliation.
If you were caught speaking Uyghur, you were locked up in a dark room. We also had to write out lines of praise to the Chinese Communist Party. Every 10 days we had to stick our arms through to get an injection. We didn't know what it was, but the younger women stopped having their periods. We had to do sit-ups in the nude. It didn't matter if you were 14 or 84. That's how they violated our honor.
Each time I was electrocuted, my whole body would shake violently, and I could feel the pain in my veins. I thought I would rather die than go through this torture. I begged them to kill me.
Children ripped away from their parents and sent to brutal boarding schools, while their parents are held hostage at work camps in Xinjiang. At the schools, their heads were shaved, and they were forced to learn the ways of the Han Chinese lifestyle. They're beat locked in dark rooms. They're forced to hold painful positions on a regular basis to really make sure they never forget their re-education lessons. One family who managed to escape to Turkey said that by the time he got his kids back from the prison-like boarding school, they were completely malnourished, traumatized, and had completely forgotten how to speak their native language.
Giant new factories and textile mills, hundreds of them, where they face strict controls and political indoctrination. The first thing our workers have to learn is to love the Communist Party, this factory boss says. But now the BBC has seen evidence that shows Uyghurs are also being sent en masse into the cotton fields.
Slave labor has gotten so bad in Xinjiang that most brands refuse to get any of their materials there. The United States even put out a law called the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act in 2021. This effectively banned the importation of goods made in the Xinjiang region, so American companies are not allowed to get their cotton or anything else from this region. But Temu is based in China, which meant the US government effectively killed all their competition for them. While everyone else is bound by annoying laws stopping them from getting slave-made goods, you had direct access to the source, and you took full advantage of that. A ton of Temu products are linked to the Xinjiang region, and you weren't even trying to hide it. A congressional report showed that Xinjiang cotton was even listed in the description of items on Temu's website. And you would think the US would stop you from shipping these products into the country, but you had a solution for that too. You see, the US only investigates and taxes imports worth more than $800. Anything worth less than that is considered a de minimis good, so the US doesn't inspect it thoroughly and it isn't taxed. And since no one is buying more than $800 of Temu junk, every single one of your packages falls under this exemption, so they fly right under the radar. But here's the thing, slave labor has been just one of Temu's secrets of domination, so stay dangerous, subscribe for more, and this is the real reason why Temu is so cheap. If you run a business like Temu, chances are you probably can't afford to be as reckless as them with your spending. That's why you gotta check out Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one platform that combines practically every single app you could pay for as a business all under one roof, which means you can literally save hundreds if not a few $1,000s this year just by switching over. Odoo has a time tracking app for employees to track their hours, an accounting app to replace your QuickBooks plan, invoicing, point of sale, SMS marketing, electronic signature. There's even inventory management and project management apps as well. You can even build full-blown websites, sell courses, and create digital phone numbers for your business. And you get all of this and more for as low as $24.90 per month per user. Think about that, you're probably paying just as much for one of these apps alone. Take their document signing app for example. DocuSign literally costs just as much as Odoo for their standard plan, while Odoo's app is just as good and you get all the other apps. Or take their accounting app. It's arguably easier and cleaner to use than QuickBooks, even though people pay anywhere from $15 to $100 per month for QuickBooks. Basically, you get $2,000 worth of apps for under $25 per user. And the best part is that you can try all this for free without entering your credit card information when you pause the video and click the link below. You can even get free lifetime access to one app of your choice in the Odoo suite if you don't need the rest. So click the link below and try Odoo for free now. Thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Temu seemed to just pop out of nowhere one day, but where did it even come from? Temu was created by a huge Chinese e-commerce conglomerate called Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo is the original shopping app they came out with in China, and it was a huge success. It quickly became one of the top online shopping platforms in China, even surpassing other well-established sites like Alibaba. But now they wanted to dip their toe into international markets with a new brand.
Feels like a dream, feels like magic. Now I believe I can have it. Ooh, ooh, Temu. Ooh, ooh, Temu.
But launching a new shopping platform in the US is not easy. People are already used to using things like Amazon. So if Temu was gonna break through, they were gonna have to take some drastic measures. They were gonna have to make US consumers an offer they just couldn't refuse. So they went all out. First, they spent billions on advertising. No one is gonna shop on Temu if they don't know it exists. So the first thing you gotta do is get your name out there.
Download the Temu app and shop like a billionaire.
Temu put their commercials everywhere. They spent $2 billion on just Facebook and Instagram ads alone. That's 10% of Meta's total revenue last year. And when you're spending 10% of Meta's revenue on just ads, it pretty much guarantees that everyone on the platform is going to be seeing it. People were even getting sick of seeing their ads, but it was working. It made people curious and download the app. And it was all thanks to an offer they just couldn't refuse. Free money. $100 off, $300 off. Temu was pretty much giving away free money for you to use their app. Who could say no to that? You were getting free stuff. And just like that, they got you. Because once you got sucked into their platform, that's when you experienced their gamified shopping. And it's not just about low prices. They make shopping fun. It feels almost like a game.
After you open Temu, the first option over here where it says win $200 spin to win. If I click on it, it's going to take me to this page. I can click on spin and it'll spin, and it's going to show me how much money I earned, just like this. So I just got a $200 jackpot, which means I got $200 worth of coupon code. I can click on get now and I will get the coupon code.
There's always lightning sales to make you feel like you have to act fast to get the deal of a lifetime. Shopping on Temu became a hobby, like playing Candy Crush or scrolling on TikTok, and their plan was working perfectly. Suddenly, everyone knew about Temu.
I guess I'm known as a Temu girl now, and I just moved in my new apartment, so let's do a Temu haul.
But it just wasn't enough for them. They needed more users on their platforms, more eyeballs on their advertisements. So that's when Temu decided that they needed to advertise on the biggest stage in the world.
It's the shopping app at the top of the Google Play and Apple App Stores, Temu.
Yeah, the online retailer says it sells just about everything you can think of at prices 50%, even up to 75% off than what you would pay on other sites.
And before I get started to tell you a little bit more about it, if you are doing anything, I need you to stop right now and listen to this.
Temu was getting off the ground, but they still had a big problem. Sure, lots of people were watching their ads, but most of them were under 35 years old, and they kinda knew there was something sketchy about Temu. These people might download the app and even browse around, but because they're a little bit more internet savvy, they probably won't be buying much, and they will probably get bored pretty fast. That's why Temu needed to tap into a different age demographic, one that had money to spend and didn't know better. But in order to reach this audience, Temu was gonna have to do something big, something that would be impossible to ignore. Enter the Super Bowl.
It is finally here, Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Super Bowl. You're the Super Bowl.
It's one of the biggest televised events of the entire year. Millions of people tune in to watch the Super Bowl and its ads. The ads are so valuable, they're practically guaranteed to bring in new customers, which is why an ad costs $7 million for every 30 seconds. But $7 million was nothing for Temu. In fact, why stop at one commercial? Or two? Why not get 3 ad slots during the Super Bowl, just in case someone went to the bathroom during the first 2? And that's exactly what Temu did. They spent $21 million to make sure everyone watching the Super Bowl knew the name Temu by the end of the game. They even offered viewers $15 million in promos to make sure that people really ran to the App Store. And once again, Temu's plan unfolded perfectly. The number of people downloading Temu around the world nearly doubled after the Super Bowl ads.
It only launched in the US last September, but it has quickly climbed to the top of App Store charts. Temu is cheaper, aggressively promotional, programmed to sell you useless stuff, and it's totally addictive. It's kind of like a mix between Amazon and TikTok.
In April 2024 alone, over 46 million new users downloaded Temu. But this time, it wasn't just Gen Z and millennials. It was their parents and even their grandparents.
Very similar to Amazon, and yet the prices are so much better.
She told her 2 teen daughters to place some orders.
She got this cute skirt.
My mom got really caught up buying stuff on Temu.
Okay, so you guys seem to love the that mum has bought off Temu because she's addicted. So I thought I'd make a part 2 because there's no shortage of Temu in this house.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye. Do you understand?
And all of a sudden, Temu found itself on the same level as companies like Amazon, even though Amazon took decades to build their user base. But even though they were getting hundreds of millions of users, the real question was how they were making any money. They might have been making hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, but Temu was also spending an insane amount of money to get people on their app. They were spending a record-breaking amount. Temu allegedly spends $3 billion per year on advertising alone. That's more than what the majority of companies make in a year. So on the surface, it seems like Temu should be going broke. And a lot of people think they are. Goldman Sachs estimates that Temu is actually losing $6 on every order it ships to the US. In fact, Temu is believed to be losing as much as $950 million a year. So why? Why do all of this if it's running the company dry? Well, what if they don't even care about making money? What if all they care about is making sure you download the Temu app on your phone?
How many times have we been told if something is priced too low, it's probably too good to be true? Well, when we looked at prices on the site Temu, we got wondering, how can they price things this low? And if it's real, what's the catch?
Now, if you've become addicted to getting those orange Temu packages in the mail every week or so, you don't really want to stop shopping there.
A camera for $15. How about a wedding dress for $30? If you've ever shopped online, you've probably come across Temu. It's everywhere and it's dirt cheap. But some warn buying from the Chinese website could come at a cost.
You are giving them permission to look at so much of your personal, private stuff. It's on your phone and in your life.
If you have downloaded the shopping app Temu, delete it now.
So Temu successfully got everyone and their mother to download their app. But what most people don't know is that while you mindlessly scroll through their app, Temu is watching everything. Because the second you download their app and start shopping, they have access to everything on your phone. Every photo, every private text message, every email, every internet search. Temu can see it all.
Yeah, it's a little weird that a shopping app would need access to your camera or to your microphone or to your photos or to your address book. Those are details that you don't really need to do shopping.
When you download Temu, you are literally downloading an advanced spyware and malware system that collects all your data, that sees everything you do. That's why they're spending a fortune on advertising. That's why Temu is offering deals that seem too good to be true, because they don't just care about making money on the actual sale. They care about making money off of you.
This is all part of a larger user acquisition strategy, because right now, Temu's not worried about sales. It's worried about you.
After all, the personal data of 100 million Americans is just as valuable as billions of dollars these days. And this isn't just some crazy conspiracy theory.
The popular discount shopping app Temu making its second Super Bowl commercial appearance. But now all eyes are on Temu for a different reason. 2 class action lawsuits allege the app has an arsenal of tools to gain access to what they call literally everything on your phone, including your contacts, camera, microphone, and more.
Like many online companies, Temu straight out tells you that it collects all kinds of information from your name, phone number, and address to your birth date, social media photos, and your social security number. It also automatically collects data from your phone, tablet, or laptop, information like the operating system, browsing history, and location data.
According to the lawsuit, Temu is particularly dangerous because it bypasses phone security systems to read a user's private messages, make changes to the phone's settings, and track notifications.
Yet Temu can literally see everything on your phone. And unless Americans start waking up fast and uninstalling Temu is probably gonna eventually surpass Amazon.
It took discount retail app Temu a year to get to 51 million monthly active users in the US. That's approaching the 67 million user base that Amazon spent decades building.
A couple of years ago, Temu didn't even exist. But now even companies like Amazon and Walmart are getting worried about Temu.
When I first wrote about Temu, we reported that it launched very quietly, and now Temu is the opposite of being quiet.
Their prices are so low that even Amazon can't compete with it. And it's definitely gonna hurt the little American manufacturing that's left. Still, many people think Temu is a bubble that's bound to burst. They think any business growing that fast is bound to fall apart eventually. Especially with all the rumors swirling around about all the shady stuff Temu does, and how much money they're losing. But at the end of the day, Temu is a Chinese company after all, which means they are controlled by the CCP. And if the CCP likes that Temu is playing yet another part in the erosion of American society, the CCP is not gonna let them fail.
It's also a fact that all Chinese companies, whether they are private or state-owned, they are beholden to the Chinese government. So if the Chinese government wants them to censor, if the Chinese government wants them to survey, they have to do it. They have no choices to not do it.
In fact, they're probably already propped up by the Chinese governments. And on top of that, Temu has already made up for what they really wanted this whole time: direct access to you and everything you do.